Hi guys, thank you so much for all the support and comments and input on the last video, the remote viewing video of Charlie Kirk. It's a little shocking to be such a small creator and have all of this views and energy so quickly, but I genuinely appreciate everybody's feedback and input. Your responses mean more to me than you know. And as I'm still new to this whole content creation journey on YouTube specifically, the big creators that I followed for years have made it look so much easier than it actually is. But I am genuinely loving every part of the learning journey. So the video that you're about to see here is a spirit box channeling that I did after this remote viewing. What prompted me to record this reading was after already uploading the remote viewing video, which I did 2 days after the shooting. It was on the day after, I think Trump had announced that they had the suspect in custody. So I do remember seeing Tyler's images on the news along with Lance. But at that time, nobody was discussing. Lance was still being painted as a roommate. If you remember, people were kind of still fighting about whether it was woke ideology from the left or far right extremist radicalism. And because Tyler grew up in a conservative family. However, there was something about Tyler's images that drew me to want to connect with his energy and see what really was the cause to all of this. What prompted me to film this specific reading was after seeing the first live that Candace Owens had posted regarding the potential of Israel's involvement. And that was a live that she had done on September 15th. It was actually the same night that I had just finished uploading the remote viewing, and it got me questioning things as well. Before that live stream, no one was talking about Israel at that point. There was nothing out yet about Charlie's views shifting, or even the possibility of this being a definite professional hit. Some people had speculated it because of the accuracy and the clean shot and the one shot, but I also heard expert tactical analysts say that that's not a hard shot to make. It doesn't have to be a sniper. It could very well be somebody that grew up in the gun life like Tyler did with his family. There was a few snipers that came out saying that it's not a difficult shot to take. It's not some overly professional tactical hit. And actually, if it was professional, it wouldn't be this messy. However, upon hearing what Candace had talked about, and being that I've always liked Candace, although again, I stopped following politics after about 2020. And I do remember the split between Ben and Candace during when she was still with the Daily Wire, although I didn't know completely what the split was about. I did know it had something to do with Israel because Ben Shapiro is a staunch supporter of Israel, and Candace was in her faith feeling like Israel was committing war crimes. I think that's what her kind of perspective was. But again, I wasn't really following it much at that point. I had gone from following the conservative groups and movement. That's how I knew who Charlie was. But, after my awakening, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, I really stopped paying attention to all of that. So in my remote viewing and channeling session, I went into it with a clear mind. I wanted to know what Tyler was feeling, what his motives really were. Was this, because he grew up in a conservative family, or was it because he was radicalized through college, like what we hear talked about all over the news. But I knew there was something deeper. I kept feeling this very strong feeling of something beneath the surface. And since doing the remote viewing, and still to this moment now, despite what other psychics are saying or other mediums are saying, I stand by my intuition, which says that this was 100% Tyler's doing. There were other things involved or ideologies involved, potentially even other people, as I had shared in the reading, but not in the way of the actual activity or carrying out of the shooting. So as I said, there are other energies at play though too. But what I couldn't tell from the session, the remote viewing session, was whether those energies were part of his community, his online community, or was it something bigger? So when I saw Candace's live, that prompted me to question the bigger narrative that we've all been questioning too. When I saw the photo of Charlie, I'll put it here, just before the shooting at the event on September 10th, I immediately noticed the 3 hats on the table. The 3 hats on the table say 47, 47, 47 for the 47th president. But when you add the 4 plus 7, this equals 11, 11, 11. I actually shared a video of this on TikTok. Now, if you've ever been through a crazy spiritual awakening, then you know, as I experienced, what that number means. I saw 1111 every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, for probably the entire first year of my awakening. I still see it now, but it was intense at the beginning. 1111 stands for a frequency, a portal, an energy shift. It's a divine nudge to us that something is shifting, that your eyes are opening to a higher truth, a state of higher consciousness, or a higher state of awareness. So I believe that this tragedy, as horrific as it was and is, cracked something open. It woke a lot of people up. That number, 11, 11, 11, told me that this wasn't just about politics, that it was deeply spiritual. I recorded the reading and remote viewing of Tyler on the afternoon of September 12th, the day that he turned himself in, or just the day after he had turned himself in, and just as the public was learning. So yes, there are some things that were released at that point, but there were a lot of things that weren't released yet. And there was a lot of infighting between the political right and the political left, a lot of pointing fingers and blame and anger and hatred. Everybody was still fighting online about what was his actual identity. People were posting pictures of him dressed in a Trump costume, pulling pictures from his family's Facebook, claiming that his dad was a staunch, Republican sheriff. But now we're hearing things that come out that it's not that deep, like they weren't that deeply political, or even religious. I believe this is part of what led to Charlie Kirk taking the brunt of Tyler's hatred as well. So as everybody asked, was he far right? Was he a woke leftist? No one was actually reading his energy yet. No other channels that I saw were doing a reading on Tyler himself. And I felt called to. My heart hurt for him. And it could be tied to something personal. I touched on this briefly in the last video, but I too have a 22-year-old son. When he was just 16, he fell in love with someone named Jack. When he met Jack, Jack was identifying as a female. And in the course of their relationship, I think about a year in, Jack began to transition to male and adopt the name Jack. My son loved Jack deeply, but the judgment, the wrestling with his own thoughts, the bullying, the ridicule, nearly destroyed him. His father and other people around him called him names, tried to shame him into hating who he loved. He ended up spiraling and ended up in a psychiatric hospital. And for about a year to 2 years, we spent many, many visits back and forth to emergency rooms and psychiatric inpatient centers. And he was struggling with, a diagnosis of psychosis. I watched the war between love and ideology rip him apart. This, I believe now, was another large part that led to my own spiritual awakening. Because in the spirit realm, there are no labels. There's no gender. There's no politics. There's no hate. It's just love. And I'm not saying hate doesn't exist, but it gets healed there. There's a higher and deeper knowing across the spirit realm that we come here to try to transmute and grow ourselves. So right now, as people are so deeply grieving, and rightfully so, you'll see some are spiritual, some are religious, some are political, and some are just emotional and angry. And if you've ever studied the 7 stages of grief, then you know that the first few stages include anger, blame, and denial. It's part of how we as humans process loss. I ask those questions in this session, and interesting things came out, especially out of the spirit box. But upon the end of the session, I do not feel that this was a political assassination or a conspiracy or professional hit. I don't see some massive government hit job, but I do feel propaganda. I do see archetypes like a priest, a queen, a knight. I do feel power structures, but I don't feel that Charlie was murdered as part of some big conspiracy. I feel that Charlie was taken out as a way for someone who is dealing with a underdeveloped mindset, an echo chamber of ideologies, and a deep sense of responsibility for the people he cared about, that it was misdirected hate. I've asked Spirit over and over again in this session and in subsequent sessions, did Tyler pull the trigger? And they have been clear. Yeah, it was Tyler. It was Tyler. But that doesn't mean that other forces weren't influencing him, or that our government is innocent in things, because they're not. However, spirit works in layers, not black and white. What I do believe and have picked up since is that Charlie's soul was going through an awakening process as well. He started seeing things beyond the binary, beyond his biblical beliefs and some of his deeply held views, and beyond party line. And that could be tough for a company like his, because he single-handedly, grew a huge organization that helped to put a lot of these systems in place. So although he did start speaking out on these things, I believe that's because he was going through a spiritual shift. He himself awakening. And as I said in the remote viewing video, I believe he planned to do this because of his reach and because of the size of his platform. He could help awaken many other people. But he didn't get that far yet. He was still wrestling. He had just started. I think he too was wrestling with coming to terms with these things, as many of us have since 2020, since awakening. But he chose not fear, love, to give others a voice, to give them the microphone to be able to tell their side. So this reading isn't neat. It won't give a villain and a hero, but maybe it'll give you something a little bit deeper. The invitation to see the soul behind the story. This is part 1. Part 2 will be posted soon with more card pulls and the Spirit Box audio. It takes a little bit to edit these because I have to go through and listen to the audio and try to label what it is I believe I'm hearing. And you are all more than welcome to add to what you think you may be hearing. These are very subjective. So if you hear something different, then totally, I would love to hear what your perspective is. Watch this with an open heart and remember that we are all shifting as a collective. All these timeline shifts that are talked about, all these Mandela effects and all these things that we've been seeing, they're all happening because we are shifting timelines. We're shifting to a higher frequency. And in order to do that as a collective people, humanity as a whole, for the earth, for spirit, for soul, for the longevity of the human race, we need to expose the darkness for what it is. So thank you for joining me. And yeah, I can't wait to hear your feedback on this. Thank you.
Let me float like a song with the words unspoken till it carries me home. Let the rivers unfold.
Did I hear something about Biden? We know there are. Yes, I heard Biden. What about Biden? Ep. Are you going to say what I think you're going to say? Investigate. Okay. Charlie, were you catching on to something or investigating something that you started finding some things on? Clearly something. Do you believe that you're unalivered? Aces. The first aces again. Is there something deeper going on here? Is there something deeper going on here that you started catching on to? Psychic abilities, intuition. Can't confirm. WNY again. W. I don't know what this WNY thing is. Constant. I think you might have liked propaganda, fake news. Media. That was very clear. The media. So the media was giving. Say that again. Teamwork. Or other people involved. I just heard a laugh. Evil, demonic people. There's something darker going on there. Underneath the propaganda. WNY again. What does this mean? Final ending. DNA. Okay, so I am going to pull from this government. I just okay, something. Huh. Elders. This deck is a deck of archetypal energies. It covers different characters or like different archetypal types. Can you tell me what are the energies? What are the archetypal energies that you were dealing with? That you started seeing or learning about within 6 months prior to this event, to this tragedy. The storyteller. Viewpoints, control. Interesting. That's somebody, that's propaganda. The queen, determination, sacrifice.
Everything.
The risk, I heard like I risked or risked everything. Okay.
It's that you qualify.
The priest, perseverance and faith, and that's exactly what you are doing. You are awakening to something else. You were seeing something else going on. He was. So Candace said you were going through some kind of bad news, some kind of spiritual awakening just before this happened, and that it was making you see things more clearly. Yeah, something more dark. WNY again. Media. I just keep hearing like media. What about the media, Charlie? What was it about the media? The storyteller. Dishonest.
Seven, eight.
7, 8. 7, 8.
Industry.
I don't know what that means. 7, 8.
UNT.
Charlie, was Tyler Robinson the person who shot you? A lawmaker. Hero. I heard cyber something. Cyber world. Is there a lot of propaganda for reality? A lot of propaganda through cyber attacks. Okay, can you tell me who the storyteller was? Who's the storyteller? Hmm.
And he's some.
Okay, so what I'm seeing with this card is like somebody trying to control or have control over America. With the eagle here. This is really interesting. Because I did a remote viewing last night that showed me that Tyler's footsteps, but then today he is adamantly denying that he did it. He's saying he never shot the gun. Is that true? Yeah, I mean, that's a truthful card. It's like I'm standing in my truth.
When it comes to
I don't. And much.
anything,
It's too.
What were you trying to say about the priest? What about the priest?
Show.
What about the priest? Swords. Okay, so there are a lot of swords. I mean, sword. So, hey guys, this is Tanya. I'm in editing. So, I wanted to jump in here and just add something briefly, or as quick as possible, before we get to the next section or before I start explaining this. So, it's worth noting that the 3 sword cards that came out in perfect succession is not by accident. In tarot, swords represent the air element, which is thoughts, communication, truth, strategy, and sometimes conflict. But when you see the ace, the king, and the knight all together like this, it doesn't just represent one person, it tells a bigger story. The ace is the moment of clarity, the idea, the plan, the sword raised in the air. And with the eagle and the wreath there, all I see is America. So it's like there was some kind of moment of truth or clarity raised towards America or about America. The king is the strategist. He's the one who commands. He's cold, he's detached, and he could be dangerous in silence. The knight is the one who carries it out. This is often an impulsive energy, misled, and usually riding fast into something they may not fully understand. So, in the context of this reading, it feels like someone knew what they were doing, someone orchestrated this, and someone carried the weight of it. There's 3 big energies here, and yeah, it's as I edit this video back, it's just my like mind is spinning. I definitely saw Tyler, do this. I remote viewed all of that, but there's definitely something deeper here. So I just wanted to jump in here and say that the swords can also represent like a game of chess. Okay, it can represent strategy and weaponized thought or cold rationalization or even detached cruelty. So the swords can be very telling. And having a lot of them in this reading is pretty interesting. So anyways, back to the reading. So this is figuring out the truth about something talking or going to be talking, like wanting to talk, wanting to bring the truth forward, discovering the facts about something and having clarity. The King of Swords is about standing in the truth, like knowing that what you know, you're not going to budge on what you've learned or what the knowledge is that you have. Like, you're not going to let somebody change that opinion or that belief. Standing your ground, standing firm in your truth. With this one here, this is the... Is her geographical? All right, I'm going to ask this question. And I want to see if this comes across the spirit box. Charlie, can you tell me, can you say yes if you are here with me, please? Here, I heard here. Can you say yes? Can you say hello? What I would like to know, Charlie, if you could please step forward and just as clearly as possible say who was responsible for your death, Charlie. Who? The government. Is the blame being placed elsewhere? The person that they have in custody, the suspect that they have in custody. WN something again.
Suspect.
Yeah, suspect. Are they the ones responsible? I know it might be a little bit harder. Three. Look under. Trust. Intuition. The truth is hidden. And I just heard mask. Truth is hidden. The knowledge or the truth goes much deeper. Yeah, to Charlie. That's what I'm trying to figure out. What happened to Charlie? Who did this to Charlie?
Deeper on the depth.
Did I just hear what I thought I heard? Is there more going on here than what? Oh boy. Charlie again. Yes, can you ask Charlie, or Charlie, can you tell me, were you uncovering something that would have led to this?
Righteous.
Righteously.
It's for and what?
So the boy that is set up, Tyler, the boy that is in prison now, or
Perfect.
the person that's going down, what part did he have? What part did Tyler have in it?
Water. And do it anyway.
I couldn't understand that.
Was working for coffee, no doubt.
Oh boy. There are people that are investigating what actually happened, like YouTubers and other independent journalists, and they're saying that the way the FBI is saying cancer.
They sued Candace.
The way that they're saying that this happened, a lot, everything what? Everything to. Let's do it this way. Charlie, I know you're there. If you're, can you tell me your wife's name, Charlie? If you want to give her a message.
Try.
What's your wife's name, Charlie? She's very beautiful. Mm-hmm. Can you say it more clearly? She's saying she's going to continue the organization in your name, and she is going to keep carrying your message forward. But Candace said today, WNY. Candace said today that the people who are planning to take over your chair better not do so. I feel like that's his voice, like, because it's like a little difficult to talk, in there, but he's trying. Los Angeles. Charlie, do you have any messages for Candace Owens, your friend? Well, she's going hard on your behalf and saying this isn't what it seems. Shedding light on the situation. Yes. That's exactly what she's been doing. Tell me more. Whoa. So you weren't sure what to do with the knowledge that you had and tried to find inner strength. It's like facing the beast. You had the decision to shine light on certain things, and you knew that it was going to be not an easy process, but you also knew that it was necessary. Because I feel like you had a lot of faith. Like your faith was very strong.
Truth Social.
That literally just said Truth Social.
Just
Unbelievable. What about Truth Social? Can you tell me about it? Is there something on there? You know what, guys? I'm going to do this. I want to see something. I'm going to ask you to I'm going to pull a card, an energy card for each of the people that I'm going to name. One card for each person. Oop. And I want you to help me like pull the energy around that person. I'm going to say their name and then I'm going to pull a card. And I want you to communicate through the card. Assassin. Yeah, it was an assassin. Was this a professional hit, Charlie? What's this leading to? What's the purpose? I keep hearing there's like a bigger plan or a bigger thing in the works, but what is it? Exposing something, exposing evil, exposing corruption. Exposing darkness. Okay. Can you give me a card for Trump? Card for Trump. The Witch. Interesting. A card for the
Taking me around for my money. Sipping bubbly, feeling lovely. Living lovely. She's lovely. I wanna be with you. I wanna be with you.